Yeehaw!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. If you were here on the channel a few weeks ago, we talked about how the Canada Revenue Agency was essentially doing something illegal. They were moving forward with capital gains charges, even though Parliament had dissolved and the bill that essentially was being put forward to bump up the amount of capital gains taxes one would pay in Canada was defeated. The Canada Revenue Agency was essentially saying they're going to move ahead anyways. That they're just going to do it because they want to, even though it isn't law. I have unfortunate news to report today, as it seems that despite prorogation of Parliament, Canada Revenue Agency planning to do some dastardly things moving forward, simply because they can. This is unacceptable. I want to talk about it. This is unacceptable. Fringe, by the way. I want to encourage everybody. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the subscribe button. Our channel is being suppressed now more than ever, especially on the verge of a federal election. Government suppression is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. So if you're wanting to get all of your non-mainstream media news, headlines, everything that's coming out that's important, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. Join me daily as new videos drop here on the channel. Let's get over to what's happening today. As this article sent to me by my lovely wife, Mrs. Fringe, that the CRA is continuing with capital gains charges despite prorogation, says the Finance Department. Earlier this week, again, or last week, Justin Trudeau giving his half-assed attempt at resignation, which wasn't resignation. It's kind of all up in the air. I don't know how anybody defines it these days, but it says here that the federal government says that the Canada Revenue Agency will continue to administer the capital gains tax changes proposed in a budget last year, even though they haven't passed in Parliament, which is prorogued until March 24th. The Finance Department says parliamentary convention dictates that taxation proposals such as capital gains taxation measures with Liberals introduced last year are effective as soon as the government tables a notice of ways and means motion. So as long as they've said they want to do this, well, we're just going to go ahead and do it. It doesn't have to be law. So it's kind of like saying, if I want to drink and drive, I can just go ahead and do it because, I said so. It's lunacy. The Liberals have tabled in September in a notice of ways that means motion that introduced a bill meant to raise the portion of capital gains on which companies pay tax on 2/3 from 1/2. The policy would also apply to individuals with capital gains earnings above $250,000. So again, if you are in a state where maybe you have to sell your home, you can't afford it anymore because things have become too expensive, and you're not buying another house, that's capital gains. The government's going to take half or 2/3 now of your money rather than typical capital gains tax. People are going to have to get trickier about how they move their money around. Despite the current prorogation, the Finance Department says the CRA will issue taxpayer forms in accordance with the proposed capital gains rules by January 31st. The department says the CRA will stop administering the policy if Parliament resumes and the government signals it will no longer proceed with the proposed changes to capital gains taxation. So them saying, well, this is no different than Justin Trudeau with his loopholes. I mean, again, when we talk about his fake resignation, I intend to resign as soon as we find another leader, so I'll prorogue Parliament. There's no reason to prorogue Parliament while looking for another leader. You either resign or you don't. This was all just a facade to push along people's pensions, to bolster the pockets of those who are going to be getting pensions, to cut deals before they're out. This has nothing to do with selecting new government. It has nothing to do with anything. Just like the CRA moving forward with this has nothing to do with actual law. It's just because, well, we're going to say that it's all the government's fault because they've prorogued everything, and we're just going to move ahead as schedules are planned rather than actually obey the law. It says here the department's update on capital gains comes a day after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced his resignation and the prorogation of Parliament, which wiped the House of Commons docket of bills and motions that had yet to receive royal assent and caused confusion around the capital gains proposal. No, it doesn't. It didn't receive its bill, so you don't do it. Plain and simple. You either do or you don't. And what you're doing here is highly illegal. It is against Canadians' preferences, I'll say, in the very least. But it goes against our Constitution. It goes against anything in terms of a natural law. The government or crown corporations like the Canada Revenue Agency can't simply just decide what they're going to take from Canadians. That's theft. I've always said from the beginning, taxation is theft. That, keep in mind, income tax was supposed to be a temporary measure. over 100 years ago. And here we are paying the highest that we've ever paid in our lives. It's theft. At the end of the day, it's theft. I would encourage everyone to contact your local MPs. Ask their offices, what are they doing to stop the Canada Revenue Agency from taking extra capital gains from people? Because if this doesn't stop, I mean, what's to stop them from deciding, well, we're just going to charge you more on your income tax. We're going to charge you more on your federal tax. We're going to charge you more on your provincial tax. We're going to do all these terrible things. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, it's not like, you don't just have to pay them and they'll just send you a bill or keep hounding you. These people have the power to garnish your wages. They have the power to freeze your accounts if they so choose. We're being held hostage here, not just by Jagmeet Singh, but by the Canada Revenue Agency. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, I hope it's earned your subscription. Again, very vital we get those subscriptions in on the channel and continue to build our large Fringe majority. Make sure you hit that button down below. It helps us more than you think. Hit the bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show where I sit down with my beautiful wife, Mrs. Fringe, and we talk about everything that has happened this week in Canadian politics, everything that we know that's coming up in the week ahead, as well as some memes and some back and forth within our community. It's always great to hear what you guys have to say outside of making these videos, and we both look forward to hearing what each of you has to say this upcoming Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.